I, you don't know what it took for me to get to this video today. Not just in this day from when I woke up, but the whole lifetime that it took me to get here. And so, welcome to this part of my journey. What are we talking about? We're talking about play. This is one of my passions, the playfulness of the soul. And it's something that I've immediately, upon being born in this lifetime, have been tuned into the quality of play and what does it take to be playful? What are the results of being playful and what's the benefit of being playful? And there's many other qualities to the soul, and there's many other skills to learn about. And this is just one that I naturally gravitated towards, and I wanted to share about it. I don't want to edit this video or be perfect or analyze myself. There's a huge face of me as I record. Hey, you look beautiful, Dominique. But back to me and you. So my name's Dominique Frisella, and I'm a mom. I live in Florida. We're a homeschool family, and I've always worked with children. Lately, I've been working online, doing wonderful things for wonderful people, and being at home with my kids and my husband. And my kids are 11, well, almost 11 and almost 13 next month. And so I just thought I think I'm just going to share a little bit about me because I want to share some videos this week. I might share another one tomorrow and the next day. Comment below if you need to hear the next one. But I thought I would just share my experience with play and playfulness and relationships with children because that's kind of where it comes out easily and where I've, expressed and experienced a lot of play. Not to mention with friends, of course, and family, but there's like something about playing with children that's like a service that it has a lot of meaning, and there's a lot of like purity and goodness that comes from being playful and having a playful spirit with children. They love it. I experience play as the language of childhood, and it works. It's actually easier to be playful than it is to be stressed. What do you know? And so I think it's a skill worth practicing. There's many ways to do it. It's not just, play isn't like a box. So it's not like one way that it's supposed to be. And then if you weren't that way, then you're terrible. Like I imagine this video is going to be really useful for parents, for people who are with children a lot. And parents are really, motivated and driven to be their best for their kids. So I don't know. I'm going to do some storytelling. When I was 14 and 15 years old, my sister had two daughters. So she had one daughter and then another one a year and a half later. And this is when I discovered that I love to play with kids and I had some natural ability in relationships with kids. And I remember my dad asking me when I was in my teens, like, how did you know how to do that or say that? And I was like, I don't know. Like, it was just obvious to me how to respond and react to kids. And he's like, well, what would you do in this scenario? What would you do in this scenario? He was like, appreciating me. He's a great dad. He's a very playful dad. I probably got all my skills from being playful with him. We're awesome. Just, you don't even know. I'm just joking. But so I remember that. And I was like, I don't know, I would do this and this. It would just like had like an intuition with relationships with children. And going back before that, I was thinking before I hit record that when I was a kid, the first thing I wanted to be, because they would ask you that. I don't really ask children that much anymore. But what do you want to be when you grow up? As if they're not already something now, or being something happens later. You're already something now. Anyway, it's kind of funny, but and it was like I thought the first thing is I want to be an artist. And the second thing I thought of like over time was to be a teacher. And when it was time to like go to college, and now I'm going back to where I started the story, I was like, I guess I'll be a teacher. But when I got to the actual classes, like the introductory to education class, they put me in a classroom. It was kindergarten, first and second. And the teacher was burnout and not fun and not happy. And I looked at what she had to do during the day, and it was classroom management. And I was like, I'm I don't care about what the government wants the kids to learn. I don't care about the school or the curriculum or the standards or the tests. I don't want to be beholden to any of that. I want to support children and have a relationship with them and explore and be free. So I switched majors because I thought I should stay in college, and I went into so just sort of staying around those categories of, children and creativity, play, basically. So as I was in art school, I was like, oh, like art school prepares you for the art world. And I don't want to be in the art world. I don't care about selling art or learning about galleries or shows. Like I just needed the reason I went to do art is because I don't want to fall asleep in a boring class. I just want to do something hands-on. So I went to my teacher and I was like, I have no reason to be here. I want and prior to that, I started to actually before I went to him, I had this weekend where I like the realization came to me that I wanted to go serve children, like volunteer with children in need. Like I didn't know where, somewhere on the planet. And it hit me so hard. And I was crying and trembling. And I think I was 23. And so I was with my friend Samara, and she just held space for me. And I had that realization, like, yeah, I need to go work with children who are really in need and of like love and attention. And I went to my teacher and I was like, I have to quit. Like, I can't be here. I need to go sell everything and go volunteer. He's like, okay, I'll support you to do that, but just finish the semester, however you need to do it. He was really cool. And he was like, whatever, make up how you want the rest of the course to go, the rest of your 2 classes. I only had 2 classes. However you want them to go, make a plan to not get an F in these 2 classes so you can get back to college one day if you want to, or whatever, not have that on my record. So I finished out with doing random whatever projects. Anyway, I fundraised for a year and a half. I sold everything. I went and I volunteered with street children in Tanzania. And when I was there, I realized, I mean, it was amazing. I can tell you all about that. I don't know where this is going. I'm not re-recording this. I don't got time. Today is so busy, but I committed to this video and this is what you get. Yeah. So I went to Tanzania. I learned Swahili. I was there for like a little over 10 months, and then it was pretty intense. And once I learned Swahili, I heard all the children's stories, and I was pretty much beside myself in, you know, pain at what they had been through in their lives. And there was one final breaking point with something that the Center for the Street Children did that I couldn't bear to observe. So it wasn't like it was basically sending a child to prison, like a teen, a really nice, sweet kid stole something because that was the skills they had on the streets. He stole something, but he brought it back. When they brought it back, they didn't ban him from the Center for Street Children. They turned him into the police, which was the worst punishment they could give to the kids. Because I saw kids come back from the police and they were emaciated and bruised, and it was really rough. And I was like, this is a good kid. I can't stand this. Anyway, life stories. So I was like, I need to go back home. I'm not doing well emotionally, and I need to serve people in my own country. And I don't think I belong in Tanzania anyway. And the whole idea of volunteers going to another country for a year or 6 months and then leaving and never coming back, it didn't really seem sustainable. I didn't really agree with the whole structure, although it was very meaningful. And so I came back to the States. And during when I was in college and after that time, I played with children. I was a nanny for 11 years. And then I stopped once I had a second child. Anyway, I don't know how much further I want to go with this life story thing. Definitely not stopping and re-recording. This is happening. This is it. What I want to say is, so from age 20 to 31, I was working with children as my main focus. And it was just beautiful. I remember I had my first like babysitting job. I felt like I was in heaven. I'd come home to my roommates and be like, the child said this, and then I said that. I would just go over everything that we like had played and that like what I love about children is there's like access to the pure soul. There's like more easy access. They're not really as covered over. You can see and hear their authenticity and what's true for them. I mean, of course, if the child has not been severely traumatized, of course, but even then you can see the spirit easier. And I think that was really important to me. And being in the present moment is also a part of play. And yeah, I could just lose myself. I could be myself and lose myself to relationships with children and playing and being in a spirit of discovery. And I had no problem not having a career or anything fancy with my life. I was just a nanny and a babysitter, and I had a home daycare. And sometimes I volunteered here and there. And I want to share how to play. I'm not going to do it in this video, like different ways to start to be playful. If you're like a stressed out person, but you're hanging out with kids, I have some ideas of how you can get that started. I'll share a little bit the rest of my life story, and I'll find a way to end this recording. This is how it went. So I had my first child when I was 30, and then, or 29, almost 30. Then the second child. So maybe when I was 31, 32 is when I had my second child, and that's when I stopped taking care of other people's children because I had a newborn and a toddler because they're 2 years apart. And that was it for me. I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was actually so burnt out on that. Those 2 years were so hard for me. Those are the hardest times with a newborn and a toddler. And I don't really know how we were just in survival mode, me and my husband. He was working, I was staying at home, and I was super burnt out. And, we would have, find your own dinner experiences sometimes, like, okay, here's a pot of oatmeal for dinner. Like, it wasn't like I was always like Mrs. Homemaker necessarily. I wouldn't have minded to be that way, but I was experiencing overwhelm and burnout. But I was getting coaching, and I was doing all this personal growth, and I was doing my best, but it was, I was struggling. And when the kids were 1 and 3, I was like, I'm not going to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. There's no way I can homeschool. Because this is too much. They were young. That's how I felt then, but I realized that over the years that, we can homeschool, and we do. But then, so I was like, I can't do this. I have to get out of the house. Maybe I wanted to work some and, share the financial load, but I can't go back to hanging out with children because that's what I had done prior to being a mom. So I thought I'll go to school, and I could be like a life coach and therapist. And I went to school, and I finished getting my bachelor's degree in social work, because that's one route to become a therapist. And and it was just a drain on the family to get that degree. It was like I was reacting to the stress and the pain. And I realized that I had regret and some sadness that I had spent 2 years pursuing a bachelor's degree when I really was needed at home, even though I think that's how it was meant to be. But I didn't continue on to getting the master's degree and then getting licensed and then being a therapist. And that really wasn't me. And I've thought that I should be a life coach for like probably 15 years since then to now, until like about a year ago, I realized finally that I don't really want to be a therapist or coach. I'm more of a creator and an artist and maybe a teacher. I think I need to self-express. That's the essence of my journey, is self-expression around play, comedy, relationships with children, and spirituality. So that's what I know about me. That's my little journey. I could share so much more, but I thought I would just connect a little bit and say, hey, I'm going to be creating some videos, sharing some examples of anything that I want to share about anything. It's not really going to be boxed in. It's really important that whatever I'm sharing here is not what I think it's supposed to be or perfected. It's just self-expression. And I feel really good about what I self-expressed today. Thank you for listening. That's what it was. Bye.